That's good. In the middle of the screen on this. I don't know if that's showing.
Okay. All right, we've got, anybody hear me? Oh, okay, I guess, hopefully you can. I'm recording now. This is Biblical Hebrew chapter 3, so it's the fourth lesson, third class in the book. And I've come to an executive decision. I think this will be our last time meeting in the church, because right now it's just my wife and I. So we come set up tables and chairs and TV and no one comes, and I can do it from my home easier and have faster internet. So I will continue, we'll continue to meet, but I'll just meet online instead of here. Okay, is that okay? Can somebody give me a thumbs up or a yes if you made that, if you can hear me?
That's
Perfect. Okay, my computer's saying you can't hear me, so I want to make sure that's okay. You can hear me, that's good. Okay, so we'll start off with the show then. Last week, pardon?
It's unfortunate more people aren't showing up.
That's okay.
There's quite a few on Zoom though.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so we're still with the same book. It's again a 1997 version of Introduction to Biblical Hebrew with Thomas O. Lamblin, or Biblical Hebrew. It's the same book, 1973 version. If you're using either one of those in hard copy or soft copy, that's great. You can also find them online as a PDF for free. So either way is fine. We're going to continue going through. So let me go through. In English, we have quite a few different sounds that make up vowels. In Hebrew, there's just 7. They have 7 vowel sounds. One of them's, and there at the bottom right there, there's 12 of them listed, but they're just 7 different sounds, kind of. So anyway, which one? One of them is like a glottal stop. It's kind of like as in the. It's the shortest vowel we have in Hebrew. Who can tell me which one it is? Give me a shout out.
Shva.
Shva is correct, okay? Which is the very first one down here. Shva is the correct one, okay? And Shva, again, it either has no sound or just a kind of a sound. Okay, one of them says eh. Which one says eh? Actually, there's 2 of them on the list there. Anybody remember which is the eh sound? Okay, this is the segol, okay, which is this one right here, and the segol, the chatuf, or the kataf, that just stops it, and it stops it not that you stop breathing, you stop talking, but there's a kind of glottal stop. And we don't do that in English really, except in England, in the word, like the word butter, a battle, they'll stop in the middle of a word or whatever, and we don't do that in America, so that's hard for us to do. So this is even a shorter version than this, but it's the sound. Now, if you look at Spanish, the Spanish vowels are A, E, O, U. So this is the same sound here, A, E, O, U. But the A in Spanish is written like an I, and there's not an I at all. In fact, so it's not A, E, I, O, U. There's no I. It's A, E, O, U. So what's the A sound? Of these we have left, the A sounds, there's 4 of them. That's A. And that's the patach and the comets, as well as the chatuf sounds, okay, which one have the little shva with them. So those are the ones right down there. So with 3 sounds, we got 6 of the 12 taken care of. 6 of the 11 taken, no, 6 of the, we have 7 of the 12 taken care of. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's the ah sound. And again, in Old Hebrew, this ah and this ah may have been pronounced differently. They are not now. They're pronounced the same. But it's kind of like the word pair and pair and pair. In context, you can tell what they are. So for example, pair, like P-A-I-R, is like 2 people, a pair of people, or a pair of pants. It's 2 of something. If you cut things with a sharp knife, it's called paring, P-A-R-E. Same pronunciation, but different spelling and different meaning. If you do P-E-A-R, that's a fruit, pear. So pear, pear, and pear all sound the same, but they're all different meanings. So again, each of those will have a slightly different meaning way they're written, but if you're just talking about them, they're all the ah sound. Okay, which one of those says A? Remember what A? A is
Sarah.
Seire.
Yeah.
Right there, Seire. The two dots. Two dots is Seire. Okay, the one that's the E. And I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I told you it was yeah. And I was thinking like Elohim is not Elohim, so it's Elohim. It's the E sound. It's very common at the end of words. So anyway, it's E, not yeah. Sorry. And this is the Kirik. No, this is the Kirik. Yep. Okay. All right. The U sound. Oh, I'm sorry. The O sound.
Oh. Cholan.
Okay. This is Cholam. Yep. Okay. That's the O sound. And then the U is the last we have too. Okay. It could be a dot in the middle, which is a shuruch. And it could be, oh, you're not seeing my mouse, are you? It's on the over there. Okay. The shuruch and it's the kibbutz. Okay. So that's what those are. Those are the two that are the U sound. Okay. Hopefully that was okay. I had my cursor on the other screen, and so I didn't see you, couldn't see it. Good. It makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you. All right. Let's again review the words, or the letters rather. Okay, so in this case, Aleph says, and you go ahead and repeat this either with or without the microphone on, that's fine. Aleph says nothing. It's a silent word. It doesn't say anything at all. Silent letter. Okay, and these have a sound after. So if I put the cholem after, so like the letter O, then I'll say bait says bo and vo. Say that. Bait says bo and vo. Gimel says go.
Gimel says go.
Dalet says do.
Dalet says do.
Hey says ho.
Hey says ho.
Vav says vo.
Vav says vo.
Zayin says zo.
Zayin says zo.
Like Zoe. Chet says ho.
Hit says ho.
Tate says toe.
Kate says to.
Yod says yo.
Yod says yo.
Kaf says ko and ho.
Oh, Kaf says ko and ho.
Okay, at the top, Lamed says lo.
Lamed says lo.
Mem says mo.
Mem says mo.
Nun says no.
Nun says no.
Samek says so.
Samek says so.
Ayin is quiet. Doesn't say anything at all. It's a glottal stop. Okay, Pe says po
Pe says po.
and fo.
Po.
Sadi says so.
Sadi says so.
Kaf or Kof says ko.
Kof says ko.
Reish says ro.
Reish says ro.
Lost my cursor. There it is. Sheen says show and so.
Shin says show and so.
Tav says toe.
Tav says to.
Perfect. All right. Now, as we've gone through the different chapters, there's been a lot of words, probably 100 words we've talked about. And it's normally giving examples about how to make them plural or how to make them feminine or masculine or whatever. But we've only had a certain number of vocabulary words. So chapter 1, we only had, I think, 12 vocabulary words. Okay. So the word na'ar meant young man or boy or lad, could be attendant or a servant, but not a slave. So na'ar, say that one.
Na'ar.
Okay, the next one is zaken,
Zaken.
was old man or elder. House was bait.
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 River is nahar.
Nahar.
Field is sade.
Sade.
Road or way or path was derek.
Derek.
And those are all nouns. Okay. Prepositions in front of a noun. The word all would be on or upon or against or concerning or because or over is going to be all.
All.
In the beginning of a word, if you put the letter B, the bait, that refers to in or with or by means of. That's ba.
Ba.
Okay, near, beside, or by is etzel.
Etzel.
Etzel. Okay, adverbs there or in that place was sham.
Sham.
And where or in what place is the word aya.
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 In conjunction, a vav in front of a word refers to, it's right before when it says and. Like and the young man. So na'ar is young man. So hana'ar is the young man, and vahanayar would be and the young man. That's a conjunction. So that was all the vocabulary from chapter 1. Okay, chapter 2, we had 2 lists. These are the nouns. Ish meant man or husband. So what's man or husband? Ish. Okay, and by the way, the plural of that, which is kind of weird, is anashim.
Anashim.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, for woman or wife, it's isha.
Isha.
And the plural of that is not ishot, it is nashim.
Nashim.
Okay, so it's kind of like the word anashim, which is the plural for men or husbands, but it's just, it has the A missing, like it's missing a rib, huh? Just kidding. All right, so that's the nashim. Okay, the word for house was bait. And so the word for houses is batim.
Batim.
Okay, the word for boy or child is yeled.
Yeled.
And the plural is yeledim. Okay, the word for palace or temple or very large house or large and spacious building is hekal.
Hekal.
Hekal, big building, yep. Okay, melech is a king or a ruler. Okay, and the plural is melakim. The word for book is sefer. And the plural seferim. Okay, those are the nouns from chapter 2. Okay, then we had 2 more nouns, I'm sorry. We had ebed, which was servant, or this was case, it was a slave.
Ebed.
The plural instead of ebed is abadim. So it changes the first part, it still ends in in, but abadim is the plural for that one. Perfect, abadim. Okay, the word for city is ir. And it's an irregular ending because it has a masculine ending, although it's a feminine word. So the word is arim.
Arim.
Perfect. Okay, and then I changed the order in these in our book because I like this better. Okay, the word me means who. The word who means he or it, and he means she. So who is he? I mean, me is who is he is she.
Who's on first?
It's kind of funny that way, but that's okay. All right, adverbs. The word po is here or in this place. Po. And apho is the word where. Apho. Yep, apho. Yep. So P with a line over is an F. The P without a line over is like a P. So P with the P with a dot is a pay, and the P without the dot is a fay. That's just the fa sound. Yep. So apho. So it's a synonym of ayeh. Ayeh is also mean where, but this is more specific. And apho is more generic, more around about an area. Okay, so that's all the vocabulary words we have so far from chapters 1 and 2. We've got 12 more words today from chapter 3, but several more words we'll talk about as we go along. Okay, let's take a look at what we finished last week on. Hopefully you finished your homework on chapter 2. So on these we had each one of these, we put the word la in front, which means two. So kohen is the word for a priest. And then we said two priests, then you'd put the la kohen. And kerem is the vineyard, and kelev, the dog, etc. When you put la in front, then it didn't change much, I thought. And then after I got thinking, wait a minute, okay, these are all begad kafat letters, which are those 6 letters that have, when they put a dot in the middle, they change the pronunciation. So in the case of the B with a dot is like a B, but without a dot, it's like a V. Okay, so like the word Babel, instead of two B's, it's Bavel in Hebrew. So the second one like a B and then a V. If you put a la in front, then they're both like V's. So anyway, the G does not change. It's the same either way. The D does not change. It's the same either way. In most pronunciations, in some, it becomes a TH, like the, a D or a th. Anyway, depends if you're Ashkenazi or Sephardic, but anyway, I'll just do it. D is the same. And Kaf can changes to the Cha. The Fat, PH goes from a P to a F, and the Tav does not change. It stays as a T. So a lot of those don't change, but let's take a look at those again. So in this case, when you add the la in front, so this would be Kohen, this would be Lachoken. So that changes a little bit, okay? Instead of Kerem, vineyard, Lacherim. Okay, Kalev would be Lachelev. Okay, Torah doesn't change, it's La Torah. Okay, Parash changes to La Farash, like an F sound there. Damascus, which is Damascus, doesn't change, it's La Demis. Dor and Lador didn't change. Peger would be La Feger. So that would change like an F. Bavel turns into La Vavel. So they're both V's in that case. Okay, Bor turns into Lavor. Bakar would be to Lavakar, sorry. Ger, Lager. Okay, Pesel, idol, La Fesel, like an F. Deri didn't change, La Derek. Okay, Goral doesn't change, La Goral. And Pika changes to La Fika. So that's a little bit different than I told you last time because I forgot about those, the way those are. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, when we make these ending, those are pretty easy. Gabul goes to Gabulim. Rachov goes to Rachovot. Sabah, Sabaot. Okay, in fact, that's, if you heard the Lord of Sabaoth in the Hebrew, you wonder, what's that? Is that the Lord of the Sabbath? No, it means that's the Lord of hosts. And it's not just an army, but it's an army that's come back conquering. So in talking about the Lord of hosts, it's that he's already won the battle. He's the winner and he's the, everything that, the victorious Lord of hosts. So that's what that one is. That's the word Sabah. Okay, Kahal is assembly, so that would be Kahalim would be the plural. Okay, Anan is a cloud, so Ananim. Okay, Nahar is a river. That's what the plural going to be. Naharot, perfect. Okay, neighbor is Shakem, and so the plural is going to be with im, Shakanim, perfect. Okay, Chatzer is courtyard, so the plural is Chatzerot, perfect. Okay, these adding oz and h, an article. The following nouns, if you're putting the proper form of an article, the in front, it's the h. Sometimes it adds the ah sound, like over here, the comments, and sometimes it adds the sego. That's a little confusing, so I'm going to not worry about those. I'll send you this PowerPoint. You can look at it again and see if you can figure out which one's which. That's great. Okay, and then that's the one you had last week, and that's the answers to them. That's the one, and that has the answer to you had last time. Okay, again, going through those. This was just Peger is Peger. Pegerim is the word. Okay, this is the corpse. If there's corpses, Pegerim. Okay, shekel would be shekelim, and so a shekel is what a form of money. For example, a day's worth of work was worth 1 shekel at one point, and shekels were valuable then. So throwing in a mite would be like a penny compared to a shekel. We'll talk about the Romans working for a day, and a penny, that was a day's work. And so a penny would have been similar to what a shekel was. So when my wife and I went over to Israel in 2008, well, shekels became less and less and less valued. So I think it was in the 1990s, I think it was 1993 anyway, They decided overnight they would change the monetary money from shekels in Egypt or in Israel, from shekels to new shekels. And there was 1,000 old shekels for one new shekel. So if you were a millionaire one day, you became a thousandaire the next day because everything was worth 1,000th what it was before. If you were a billionaire, you became a millionaire overnight. And so everything became devalued. Of course, everything was worth it anyway. And so that when we went there, I think it was six shekels per dollar. So it definitely got devalued again. And I'm not sure what the rate is now. Anyway, that was shekel though. Okay, the word for grave is kever. And so the plural would be what? Keverim. Yeled would be Yeladim. Okay, and so again, we go to the schwa in the front. And so instead of the sego, the S sound, it becomes it's an sound like in the. So Yeladim. Anyway. Okay, the word for bone is etzim, plural, with an oat is going to be etzimot. Okay, the word for stone is eben, so the plural is going to be ebenim. Na'ar is for the word for a youth or a young man, plural is going to be na'arim. Okay, river is nahar, the plural for rivers is going to be Naharot. Perfect. Naharot. Okay, this is Ebed is the one that's going to be a little bit different. Instead of Ebed for a servant or for a slave, this could be Abadim. Okay, for servant. Okay, the word Melech is for king, so the plural is Malakim. Okay, Davar is the word for word, or it can be for a thing, an affair, whatever, okay? The plural from davar is going to be davarim. Okay, zaken for an elder is going to be zakanim. Okay, derek is going to be derakim. Nefesh is going to be nefeshot. Okay, this is souls. Many souls is nefeshot. Cheder is room, so it's going to be Chederim. Good. And the word for sword is chereb. Plural is going to be with the feminine, it's going to be cherevot. Perfect. Okay. All right. So these, the Hebrew words for man and men and the men and in the men. Okay. What was the word for man again? Ish. That was ish. The plural was Anashim. The word for the man, you put a ha in front, so it's ha anashim, and in is going to be ba, so you put ba anashim. Okay, so again, that's the words there. That's the words across there you had last week in that part, or here they are right across the top. So there's ish, anashim, ha anashim, and ba anashim. Okay, for woman, women, the women, and in the women. So woman first is Isha. Okay, women is Nashim. So remember we have Anashim is men and Nashim is women. Okay, the women.
And I just want to mention that the word for men also means people, like a mixed group of male and female.
That is correct. Absolutely. And that kind of the same people. How many men are there? I mean, yeah, whatever. Yeah, like people. How many people are here? Sure. Good. Okay. And Hanashim would be the women. And then in the women, you change the ha to a ba. And so it's banashim is in the women. Okay, what was the word for king? Melech. And kings would be the Melachim. Perfect. Okay, and on the kings would be al Malachim. Okay, elder would be Zaken. Okay, plural is Zakanim, and on the elders is al Zakanim.
Another mile and a quarter.
Okay, the house not the house. What's just house?
Bite.
Bait. Perfect. Okay. Bait. Houses, plural, is an unusual one. It's not bayitim, it's batim. And near the house, near was etzel. So next, etzel habayit. Oh, habatim, sorry. Okay, etzel habayit would be near the house. This is near the houses. The word for book was sefer. And so books would be seferim. In the books would be ba seferim. Ba seferim. Okay, city was ir. The plural is not irot, but arim. And in the cities is ba'arot. Oh, Ba'arim, sorry. Ba'arim, perfect, in the cities. Good. Okay, translating these, what the heck is all of these? Okay, so this is what you saw in your homework. Here's the translation down here. So this is Anashim Ba'ir. So Anashim means, or Hanashim, Ha'anashim Ba'ir. So Anashim again meant men. Ha means the. So this is the men. Ir means city. Ba means in. If it's a schwa, it's in a city. If it's the ah sound, it's in the city. So the men are in the city. And then notice that there's no R, there's no verb there in this sentence. But the men are in the city. In English, we put that. If you translate it as the men in the city, you're like, something's missing. But that is what they say it in Hebrew, the men in the city. More on that today. Okay, the next one. This one is Hanashim Babait. Hanashim Babait. Hanashim means the women. Babait. Okay, bait was, what was bait? House. And Babait would mean in the house. So this means the women are in the house. Okay, Hamelech is, what is Melech?
King.
King, and Ha means the. So this is the king. Okay, Avadim means, this is the servants, and the in the front is the conjunction, the word and. So the king and the servants, ba hekal. Hekal meant temple or palace, a really big building, and this ba would mean in the. So the king and the servants are in the big building, the temple, the palace, whatever. Okay. Haseferim, sefer means book, so seferim is the plural books. Haseferim would be the books. Bait is the, what does that mean? House. So Babait would mean in the house. Perfect. The books are in the house. Okay, the next of those, Aye. Aye is where. Hana'arim. Na'ar was young man. So Na'arim is young men, plural, and Ha is the. So where are the young men? The answer is Hana'arim Basadeh. So Hana'arim is what? This is the young men. Where are they? Basadeh.
They're in the field.
In the field, yep. In that's the field. Perfect. Okay, Epho, Habatim. Epho was what? Where? And Batim is houses, and this is the. Habatim. So Epho, Habatim, where are the houses? Habatim, Ba'ir. So this is the houses are where?
In the city.
In the city. Perfect. Okay, Epho. Hanarot. So Nahar is river. So Naharot is plural rivers, the rivers. So Ephel, what does that mean? Where are the rivers? Perfect. Hanarim, no. Hanarot, Sham, and Sham meant there. So the rivers are there. Okay, this one is Ha'arim. Ha'arim, this is the word for cities. So Ha'arim, and then again we have Sham. So the cities are there. The Haderek Po. So Derek is road. Haderek would mean the road. The means and. So and the road. Po means is here. So the cities are there and the road is here. You good there? All right. So then to write in Hebrew, if you want to do those extra credit, that's great. That's what they look like. Okay. I've also got them up there a little blurry, but a little bit bigger to see if you what those were like. Okay. Ha-nashim, that's the men and the men. The nashim and the women. Arim, Ba'ir, sorry, are in the city. Okay. Ha-melech, melech is king, ha is the, so ha-melech. Ba-hekal, so this is in the palace. Nashim is women, so ha-nashim, po, is we would say women are here. Okay, Epho is going to be where. Okay, young man would be Na'ar. Plural is Na'arim, and the is ha. So ha'anarim, and would be the. The servants would be ha abadim. Okay, so the ha'anarim is going to be the and the servants. Okay, the word for books was sefer, so plural is seferim. So ha-seferim, that's here, ha-seferim, are in the city. So in is going to be ba, this would be the ha, but that's together ba, and city is ir, so ba'ir. Okay, the cities, okay, so ir is city, arim is cities, so ha'arim are going to be cities. Near, okay, so there's ha'arim. Near is going to be etzel. Itzel, and then rivers was the Nahar, plural Naharot, and the cities is Naharot, and near was Itzel. Okay, so
can I ask a question? Number
question?
6, the vowel underneath the hay that your mouse is looking at, why is that vowel? I thought it was a
yeah, normally it's an ah sound, but if it comes right before an ayin, like that one is right there, it changes to the sego. So instead of having an because an ayin by itself only has the one, it only has the vowel that's with it. So if you have with nothing else between them, they thought that was kind of sounded weird. So they changed it to a sego in front of if it's before ayin and maybe before another hay, I think was the other one it changed to. Go ahead.
I think I remember you saying that. So, but remind me, does that mean that you don't say it as an ah? You say it as the eh?
Yeah, this is eh. So it's he-arim.
Okay.
Yeah, instead of ha-arim, it's he-arim. Okay. And then a still, and then then kind of like stops, and then and then this is the I, and then the ot. Yep. Okay. All right. So that was the lesson from last time. Okay. So before we start this one, I got an intermission. Talking about the letters in the alphabet. Okay. Where do we get our numbering system? We all use numbers in English. Where do we get our numbers from? Okay, so in the past, for example, Super Bowl, lovey. What's lovey? Okay, what are these things? And what are these things? And what are these things? Okay, well, this came from here, which came from here, which came from here. okay? And so we've had several systems. Using I's, V's, X's, and L's, these are letters we use, for example, in the Super Bowl, okay? They were one that came from Rome. So these are Roman numbers, 1 through 100. Okay, so every I is a 1, and every V is a 5, X is 10, L is a 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1,000. No problem with any of those. Okay, and so by putting those together, you need to, 3 X's is going to be 30. But they didn't want to put 4 X's. They would just put 50 would be this. And so if it's 40, they'd put 1 X before an L. So XL would be 40. L is 50. L with an X would be 60. And this would be, so there's 60 down there. And there's 70 with 2 X's. And there's 80 with 3 X's. But 90 is X before a C. So it's 10 less than 10 before C, which is 100. So that's why it's 90. Anyway, this is what we used. And that was okay for numbers up through 1,000, right? Well, actually up through 3,000. But then they thought, well, wait a minute, maybe we want numbers bigger than that. So by putting a line over the top, it means multiply by 1,000. So a line over a V now means 5,000. A line over X means 10,000. A line over, this is 50,000. There's 100,000, 500,000, and 1,000,000. And the Romans thought, no one ever count more than 1,000,000. That's all you need. Okay, so Roman numerals were okay, and we use them in some things, like the Super Bowl, for example. But it's really hard to do math. It's hard to do if you're adding math with numbers in Roman numerals. It's because they don't line up. They're not in nice even rows, okay? Doing division, really hard to do in Roman numerals, okay? And so fortunately, we've gone another way, okay? The Roman Arabic numerals came from the Brahmi, which went to Hindi. Now, those don't look at all similar. Although there's 1 stroke, there's 2 strokes, there's 3 strokes, and there's 4 lines in there, whatever. That looks a little bit like a 6 and a 7, not much over there, okay? The Hindis came up with a 0, by the way, and I think some of the first people, if I remember right, were the Mayans that came up with a 0. Ancient Hebrews did not have a 0. They had no idea what 0 was. Okay? I mean, I guess I can't say the 0. They had no way to write the number 0 though. Okay. So one thing they could do, they could say the word, if you have nothing, you'd say lo. Lo means nothing, means not. Okay. So if you say yes and no, the word yes is ken, the word no is lo. But you take the word lo, those 2 letters in lo, and put them in opposite order. It's El, as in Elohim, which means God is everything, and lo is nothing. So some have got the idea that, oh, wait a minute, maybe they had an idea about nothing, but there was not a way to write at a single symbol what the word nothing meant. Anyway, as we got better and better, we've seen these letters look a lot more common to what we've got now. This is in the 16th century. So anyway, our letters came from there. But in Hebrew, there's the 22 consonants, which are written up here, plus they've got 5 that have a final ending on them. Okay, so number 1, Aleph, meant 1. 2, bet meant 2. Gimel meant 3. Dalet meant 4. Hey and Vav and Sain and Chet and Tet and Yod, all were this values, okay? So Yod meant 10. But after that, for the 11th number, or the 11th consonant, Chaf meant 20. Lamed meant 30. Mem meant 40. Nun was 50. There were 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then 120, there's 200, 300, 400, and that was it. So someone got the idea, well, if we put the final forms in, because there's a final at the end of a word, the mem and the noon and the kaf, they have a different version. So if you do that, we have, this is the 1s, these are the 10s, and these are the 100s then. So that's the values we have. And we could then do any number, a number value of a word. All right, and so then we get into something called gematria, and we'll talk about that next week, where people associate certain numerical values with certain words and how that means. Now, although it's kind of interesting, the Savior, as far as I know, never taught anything with gematria. I think it came out much later, people arguing about things, and so we won't spend a lot of time, but we will talk about it a little bit next week. All right. However, if you say, well, I don't want to learn what those are then, okay, if you're looking at a Hebrew Bible, and ideally we're all getting you to the point you can look at Hebrew and read in the Bible. In the Bible, they have the text is written in Hebrew, of course, and the numbering system is also in Hebrew. So the numbering system over here, okay, this one up here is the book, okay, and the book up there, okay, this is Barashit, okay, Barashit. Barashit, by the way, means in the beginning, because we call that Genesis. In Hebrew, it's not called Genesis. They call it whatever the first word in the book is called. And Genesis starts out saying in the beginning. And so that's the name of the book, in the beginning. Okay, next we have Perek, which is the chapter. And so this is the Aleph, which means chapter 1 in the Bible. Okay, and this is the verses, and it goes Aleph through Dalet. So that's 4, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet. That's the first 4 verses. So it's the first verse to the 4th verse in the first chapter of Genesis, what that means. So up here, and this over here says this is Aleph and Beit. So this is the first 2 verses. So it goes from here to right over here, and that's it. Okay. So in the beginning, he created God created the heavens and the earth. That's it, period. They didn't have a period. They put a colon here to say that's the end of the verse. And here's where the next verse, okay? And the earth was without form and void, whatever that goes up through here is the second verse. This says Gimel and Dalet. That would be verses 3 and 4. So from here to there is verse 3, and from there to there is verse 4. And so again, you're going to need to know the alphabet in order. And of course, if you get good enough and you want to go in the Bible and you want to look things up in the Bible or look up things in a dictionary, dictionaries are in alphabetical order. So you say, well, I don't care if Zion is the 4th letter or the 7th letter. What does it matter? To look up things in the Bible or the dictionary, you need to know what they are. And so I would recommend you kind of look at those numbers and kind of get some ideas there. Okay, so the first book, Barashit, is in the beginning. Okay, Vayikra, this is Vayikra, which is and he said. That's the 3rd book. Okay, it's a book about the Levites. So we call it Leviticus, which is the Latin name for the Levite book. In Hebrew, it's the and he said, because you all know that the in the first word means and this is he said. So and he said, kind of a dumb name. Well, I'm sorry, I should say dumb name. That's what they call it. Okay, it's not the way we call it. We call it Leviticus. They may think Leviticus is a dumb name. That's okay. Okay, we have Gimel. So this is chapter 3. And this is Yod and Aleph. So this is 10 and 1, which is 11. So chapter 3, verse 11 through Dalet, which is chapter 4. And then this is Tate and Vav. Okay, so this is going to be 9 and 6 is going to be 15. So this is basically it's Leviticus 3:11 through 4:15. Make sense? All right, let's take a look at numbers then. So looking at these numbers, so number 1 is Aleph, number 2 is Beit, then Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tate, and Yod is 10. When you get to 11, instead of having 1 letter, we have 2. We have Yod and Aleph. Yod means 10, Aleph means 1. So this means 10 and 1, 10 and 2, 10 and 3, 10 and 4. But oops, this is not 10 and 5. This is not 10 and 6. This is 10 and 7 and 10 and 8 and 10 and 9. And this goes 20 and 20 and 1, 22, 23, 24. And all of them are the same except for these 2. Anybody know why those 2 are different? Okay, this is time for a story then, okay? So the story goes like this. This is an important word. In Hebrew, everything used to start with a single word or a single symbol. Then they went to, when they adopted using the alphabet they now use, so they got that from who they get it from? Yeah. I can't think of the other word. It's kind of like Hebrew, but it's not. Anyway, the other one, whatever, they use this language, this alphabet. Anyway, Aramaic, thank you very much. Aramaic they had different letters. And so they didn't represent the same things. They had 2-letter words and 3-letter words were most common. Every now and then there'd be a 4-letter word. This is a 4-letter word, okay? And this 4-letter word is referred to as a tetragram or the tetragrammaton. Okay, tetra means 4, like in the word game Tetris. Gram is letters or whatever. Okay, so Tetragrammaton, the four-letter name of the Almighty. Okay, now the reason why they don't want to use this is because to Moses they said, this is in Exodus 20, verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. And so they knew the name of God. This is the name of God. But when it says, don't take it in vain, how do you know how you're going to take it in vain? And so they said, maybe we shouldn't say it. And so after several centuries, they stopped saying it and they didn't pronounce it. They would not say it. And so eventually the tradition became that only one person would say it only one time a year when he was in the temple all by himself. It was the high priest in the Holy of Holies. So no one ever heard the name of this ever spoken. And this was a huge blasphemy to ever say that. Okay, and so when Jews are reading the Bible and they come across this one, they replace this word, which would be something kind of like Yahweh or Yahweh. They say Adonai. And Adonai means my Lord. And so when they come across here, it'll say Adonai instead of what this is. Okay, well, because that was important not to use the name, well, you look at here, we have a Yod and a Hey, which would be 10 and 5. So if you were to say 15 and write it this way, that's kind of like blaspheming the name of God. And so they said, let's not do that. And that's why they use the numbers 9 plus 6 instead of 10 and 5. And if you did, the next one was this plus this would be 10 plus 6. And so they do 9 plus 7 because they didn't want to have half of God's name in that word. Okay, so that's the true story about why they changed those two numbers, the way they write them. We good there?
Interesting.
All right, so they didn't want to be blasphemous. And maybe you could say, well, that's kind of extreme. But on the other hand, there's quite a few people that take the name of the Lord in vain all over the place and think nothing of it. So anyway, that's extreme the other way. Okay.
Hedge around the law.
Go ahead.
They built a hedge around the law.
They did build a hedge around the law. Okay. Okay, so Hebrew numbers, when they write them all the way out, Hebrew now, people, they just write these Arabic numbers. They just put 1, 2, 3 generally, but not in the Bible. In the Bible, they still use those. But when they look at this, they say Achat. And then they look at this one, they say Shatayim, okay? And they look at this one, and it's Shalosh, okay, etc. And you get down to here, then we have the word 10. And now we have, basically, this is 1 and 10, 1 and or 2 and 10, 3 and 10, 4 and 10, 5 and 10, and this is just 10s plural for 20. So if you want to see those, that's where those come from. Okay. Now we're ready to start this chapter 3. All right. So the definite article was the word the. Okay, this is the word the, and we're going to conclude. We talked about it a couple times before. Okay, adjectives. We'll talk about the use of adjectives and vocabulary 3. Here we go. Okay, so the definite article. This is again the word the before the vowel, before a yod or before mem. Okay, the definite article adds the ha without the doubling. So instead of, okay, so we have yeladim. If you do ha in front of it, instead of ha yeladim, it's just hi ladim. Okay, they change instead of ha yeladim, it's just hi ladim. Like they took the letter of the ah out there. Yaor turns into hi yaor. No, I'm sorry, it's not hi yaor, it's just hi or. Hi or. Now this refers to the river. Now when they talk about the river, it's not the Jordan River, it means the Nile. Okay, it's not the Tigris, it's not the Euphrates, it's not the Mississippi. Yaor, Hayor always means the Nile. Okay, there's another name for the Nile, but this is what they normally, when they talk about it, the river, that's it, the Nile. Okay, Mevagalim is the word for spies. And so the spies would be Ham Regalim. Okay, so it's not Hama Regalim. Okay, again, we lose the ah part. Okay, so it's Hayladim, not Hayeladim for young men or whatever. Okay, that's the rule. That's the exception to the rule. But here's the exception to the exception. If if the second syllable after the noun or of the noun begins with an ayin or a hey, then you still pronounce that. So in the case, Yehudim is the word for Jews. Okay, Yehudim, you do the plural, it's going to still ha Yehudim. You still have the in this one. So the Jews or Judites, people of the tribe of Judah, would be ha Yehudim. We good there? Perfect. Okay. So in this case, Eretz is the word for earth or land. So ha'aretz instead of ha'eretz. Okay, this is changed from the sego to the patach over here. Okay, so we're looking at ha'aretz. Har is the word for mountain, and so that mountain is hahar. That would sound the same, but if we go from there's a change of patach in the comments. Okay, the word is for people, and it can be people or nation, like the Indian nation or the nation of Iraq, or I guess we can still say, oh great, who's being invaded by Russia now? The Ukraine, right? That would be a people or a nation or whatever. Okay, so the Hayam would be, okay, again, that just changes from an ah sound to an ah sound. Okay, gan is the word for garden, and hagan changing to that sounds the same, the garden. Okay, par is the word for male cow. You can't say a cow, so I'd say a bull, a steer, or an ox is going to be par, and a female would be para. Okay, so hapar would be the cow, the bull. Sorry. Chag is going to be a feast or a festival, and so chehag is going to be the feast. Again, there's the one that's kind of an unusual. It's the hey in front of the chet. Okay, it's not ha. Like these are all ha 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 ha. This is hey. Okay, so what the hey? I don't know. That's the hey chag there. And then Aron is a box or a chest or ark, like the Ark of the Covenant, or a chest of drawers, a chest to put something else in that's valuable or whatever. That's going to be there. Okay. Okay, a box or a chest, that's ha'aron.
Is that the same name, Aaron?
It's not the same as Aaron. I don't think so, but in Aaron we put two A's in it, and it may have a similar. It's going to be a little different than this. I don't remember what for Aaron is. I don't think so, but it's slightly different than that, though. Yeah. And then hahar is the word we up here from mountain. Okay, and that's doesn't follow the rule of the preceding lesson. That's good. Okay, we got 5 minutes looks like left. 4 minutes left. Okay, so adjectives are words that modify a noun, like happy, sad, green, tall, or short, fat, whatever. And in English, those go after the noun. Those goes before the noun. So you have a red car, you have a fat man, and you have a rich lady. In Hebrew and in Spanish and many languages, you would have a house white, a man fat, and a wife rich, or whatever. They do it backwards. And so backwards for us, but that's the right way for them. So just understand that. Now, when you put adjectives agree in the number and also in the gender. So in English, for example, good, we only have one word for good. But in Hebrew, there's a word for good for men, which is tov, and plural, and for women, it's tovah. Tov and tovah. But also in number. If it's just one man, that would be tov. One woman, it's tovah. But if it's plural, that's tovim for men and tovot for women. Okay? So this is singular man, singular female. Okay, I put a double masculine, double men here, and a double feminine here on this one, double females. It can be, yeah, there's more than one. It can be 2, 3, 5, or 1,000. This is plural for women, plural for men, singular and singular. Okay, so on these down here, we also have those the same. So we have gadol, and these actually, the changes to a schwa and the one's vowel. So gadol goes to gadolah, and gadolim, and gadolot. So gadol would mean singular masculine. So this means great or grand or amazing. Okay, awesome. So if you have a man that's amazing, you'd say, or really big. Okay, a big man would be Ish Gadol. A big woman or an amazing woman would be Isha Gadolah. Okay, so I'm going to say Ish Gadol.
Ish Gadol.
And then Isha Gadolah.
Isha Gadolah.
Okay, so men was Anashim. So really great men would be Anashim Gadolim. And for a bunch of good women, that would be Nashim Gadolot. Say that? Nashim Gadolot. Perfect, okay? Chakam is the word for wise. So this would be a wise man. Ish Chakam. Okay, a single female that's really wise would be Isha Chakama. Many men would be Anashim Hakamim. Hakamim. And the plural would be Nashim Hakamot for females. Nashim Hakamot. Are we good? Okay, now this next one, we got 1 minute, okay? Small, okay? So small, katon, masculine, okay? Katona, katanim, katanot. So this would be, so a small man would be ish katon. Say that, ish katon. Isha katana. Anashim katanim. Well, the small man, okay? And nashim katanot. Okay, now if you've ever seen any of the Aleph with Bet videos, number 2 does this lesson. It has plurals, it has feminines, it has masculines, and it has katon, which means small, and it has some of the other ones that are here. So maybe for homework, I'll have you, we'll finish this lesson, I guess, next week, or in 2 weeks. So take a look at, that video if you would like, and that will hopefully get you making some more sense to you. Okay, we're going to go through quite a few more of these, and this is kind of a fun form to go through all of these. And so we're going to go. We've got a lot to get through, but anyway, that second one right there. This is the second one. Is going to be that one. Okay, Shataim is number 2. That's great. Okay, it's called Aleph with Bet, with Aleph with Beth. Okay, which means A with B. But anyway, that's take a look at that one. Okay, we'll talk more about adjectives and all this fun stuff, and there's a lot of stuff. This starts making sense, I hope. Okay, so that's your homework, is to do that one, and then I'll give you more stuff next time. So again, we'll do it. We're not meeting in person anymore. I will just do it as a link from my house. So I have a different background, but same backstory, same back time in 2 weeks. Any questions?
But Dennis,
okay. Yes.
Her name really is Beth.
Beth, correct.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. Aleph with Beth. Anyway, yep. Okay. Anybody online want to give us a closing prayer?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Josh.
Our Father in heaven, come to you this evening, grateful for the chance we've had to study Hebrew. Please help us in our studies and help us to understand the scriptures and the culture that brought forth the scriptures. And we pray for your blessings this night in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, I will put this